Welcome to another CMC podcast. Today, in our continuing series of interviewing our 2022 GRIMP North America competitors, we have joining us the Magic Valley Paramedics out of Idaho. So welcome, guys. Their team captain's name was Chad. So Chad, if you want to go ahead and introduce the rest of your team, that'd be great.
Cool. Hey, everybody. Thanks for having us, Doug. I'm Chad with Magic Valley Paramedics Special Operations Rescue Team. We're out of Twin Falls, Idaho, and the rest of our competing team, we had Theron Thomas, Isaac Baker, Adam Enock, Brian Stone, Gerald Dillman, and Stan Flint.
Excellent. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. And for our listeners that may not be familiar with the Magic Valley Paramedics, you may have actually seen they had a very high-profile rescue on a bridge that many of you have seen pictures or video of. So maybe, Chad, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that was definitely a high-profile rescue, and definitely not something you see every day. It was big for our team. It happened to not be in our normal response area. We were requested to assist for a technical rope rescue. Due to the location it is in Idaho being really rural, we have a partnership with Air St. Luke's, and actually 3 of us flew there on the helicopter for a quick response team. When we got over, we saw the truck hanging from the bridge, and about 3 months prior to that, we had a truck similar situation that went over a dam and held, and the frame of the truck actually failed, and the truck fell to the bottom of the dam about 300 feet down in the canyon, and was a technical rope rescue and extrication. So we had that just a few months prior, so we knew time was of the essence, and it was really cool with the 3 of us initially getting there on the aircraft, and then people responding. POV and tons of other agencies responded, and it was a really cool team collaboration from not only our team, but tons of other entities that responded to that. And we were able to get the 2 victims and their 2 dogs out actually really quick in the big picture, 49 minutes from the time of the 911 call to the time we had everybody out of the vehicle.
That's fantastic, especially in such a remote area.
Yeah. So it was, like I said, from Air St. Luke's it was in Gooding County, Idaho, from their Wendell Fire Department, the Idaho State Police, Gooding Fire, Jerome Fire, just tons of agencies coming together to work as one for a successful story. We were just a small part of the team with the rope knowledge, but it went well.
Well, excellent. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
So what got you guys interested in participating in GRIMP North America?
I can take this one, Chad. Or go ahead, Jerry.
Go for it, Isaac.
Yeah, so we saw the first GRIMP North America that came out, and that piqued our interest pretty good. I mean, we've been doing rope rescue stuff for quite a while, a lot of us, it seems like. And seeing that come out for GRIMP, and it's going to be in the U.S., we thought, hey, there's a shot we can, let's go learn something new. And we didn't get selected for the first one, but we were able to actually take our team down and kind of go watch some of the competition and see some of the stuff, and just meet with everybody there was amazing. And seeing some of the techniques and the things that they did it was awesome. So, I mean, it changed, just watching the competition changed how we did a lot of things. So able to see those different teams compete and see some of the stuff that they had. And I mean, there was so much gear that we had never seen and didn't even know anything about. And, seeing that kind of stuff was like, okay, wow, we can definitely step up our game. And it's like, we want to be at that level. We got to hang out with the elevated safety guys a lot. We picked their brains a ton, watching them compete, seeing some of the stuff they did. I remember, I forget his name. He was at the competition this time as one of the evaluators. I watched them set up that retrievable anchor system that they did, and I was blown away. I was like, okay, how do I do that? How do we use that? So seeing that stuff, just even watching the first one, I mean, just completely changed where we wanted to be as a rescue team. And so from there on, it was like, okay, we're getting into competitions. We're going to do this stuff. And as we started kind of ramping up for that and getting some new gear, and it was obviously, the wonderful COVID times. So all the competitions that we'd kind of signed up for, were trying to get to go do, they all got canceled. So this GRIMP was actually the first competition that our team's actually ever done, but it was, like I said, even watching the first one just completely changed how we saw stuff and where we wanted to be as a team. So,
okay, great. So, and actually, you already answered kind of our second question. If you had participated in other competitions, so it takes care of that. And then so what did your team do to prepare for this event?
Theron, you want to take that one?
Sure. So, gosh, what was it? As soon as we were selected, or knew we were selected, we started training not only a little more rope, but we also did the physical and cardio component. We had a personal trainer come in that volunteered his time and his expertise. So we worked out with him every Monday as a team, and then followed by usually 2 to 3 hours of rope time running through scenarios. I was chosen to be the evaluator for the team. So I come up with scenarios and researched and tried to put these guys through the ringer to get them prepared for this.
Wow. That's really great. It sounds like a very multifaceted approach to the training, including the fitness and cardio aspect. That's excellent.
Yeah, it was really good. Some extra that we did as well was really awesome. Chad got a hold of Frank from one of the Arizona teams. I'm blanking on which fire department they're with.
Oh, Northwest Fire?
He did. Northwest Fire, that's
yes,
it, thank you. Out of Arizona, who competed in 2019. And yeah, he was kind enough to come up and spend a few days with us at the rope climbing gym, which I think we should give a big shout out to Gemstone Climbing for donating a massive space for us to train in and letting us come and be there every Monday. But yeah, he spent time with us and kind of gave us some pointers and some tips that he had taken back from 2019. So then we could, better set ourselves and get prepared. So
that's good.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Some of the training was just difficult because of winter in Idaho and lots of snow and cold weather, and finding indoor areas to do some of the training added a difficult aspect to it as well.
Yeah, I think that's great that you had a local, rock gym, kind of partner with you guys here and help you out. That's excellent when you get community involvement like that. Yeah,
that's all down to Theron, working his charm, got us the space, and we had some ascending ropes. Yeah, no, we were super lucky because ascending's not really, something that we do that often. So Theron was able to set up some ascending ropes that we were able to leave at the gym. So, we would all meet every week, but if one of us had a couple of spare hours or a couple of us could get together, then we could just throw down those ropes and, get a bit more time practicing going up and down. So, and that really helped us, with that scenario, the rope with a view that got us to work the rope pretty quick.
Yeah, if you've never ascended before, that's not a good time to start, is at the beginning of that scenario, especially with a knot pass involved, right?
Right.
So actually, that's a really nice lead in. So we'll kind of talk about what you guys thought about some of the scenarios here. So room with a view was kind of the first one up on that fly bridge. So what did you guys think of that?
Dillman, you want to take this one?
Sure. Room with a view was a blast. It was a really good scenario. It made us grow as a team, huge, knowing and just preparing for that. I think the fire service in general in America, I think by and large, a lot of the folks that we interact with and have trained with, and they don't do a lot of ascending. A lot of stuff we do is from top down, and we very seldom move up and down rope under our own power. And so that was a really good eye-opening thing for us and our team on a skill set that we were really truly weak at and ignorant of. I had some skill set on it before just because of caving, and some of the caves we go into are several hundred feet deep here in Idaho. And so that was kind of a cool experience to be able to share that and grow as a team and our ability to ascend to the point where we were able to perform at that scenario like we did. It was really cool to see how fast everybody came up rope and how much we had grown as a team just from knowing that that's prepping, like that. The skill set that we've gained from that, just that one little teeny tiny section, is huge for us. And we've already used it in rescues where we may need multiple rescuers to perform a task over the edge, and coming back up, we're going to bring up the patient and a rescue and an attendant in the Stokes, but the rest of us are coming up rope on our own. There's no free lunch. So it's really helped us kind of broaden our skill set and really has helped us shorten our on-scene times. It's really helped us truly be better rescuers, just that prep. And so it's pretty awesome. It was a fun scenario. It was just, plus it was, who doesn't want to stand on the top of the USS Iowa and take 2 seconds to look around. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Hard to beat that view there. Huh?
Saying you've rescued someone from a battleship is a pretty good flex, right?
Can I just add to that scenario too on separate that our team, I felt really grew at the end. We tried to get fancy on this scenario and do a pull down anchor from the top when it got held up for anybody there watching. And our whole team just came together to battle that conquer. And we never gave up till the end, and eventually got it down, but we fought right to the end on that. So I was just proud of our team for staying positive, and it was really cool to see us all come together in a frustrating time.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, those tough times are where you really learn, right?
Yeah.
Those lessons are driven home. Yeah.
And as a victim, I'd like to add that, I was totally amazed by how quick they arrived at the top. Multiple people got there so fast. They all did the not pass. I mean, everything about it was like really professional, really accurate, and fast. And the fact that we didn't succeed in that overall environment, I mean, we did an excellent job all the way through the whole process. It was great.
And there was some great pics of Stan coming down. It was pretty cool to watch that.
Yeah.
See some videos after of actually watching Stan go over the edge and be lowered that whole way. That was pretty cool.
And I had zero discomfort in the whole process. I mean, I was totally confident in the team, the process, the descent, everything else. I had zero nervousness on that one.
Yeah, because that vertical Stokes scenario is a little exposed for the victim. So that's great.
Yeah.
Probably had a really good view.
Absolutely.
So, and kind of the next scenario then was another one up on top of the ship. There was the stacks. So what did you guys think of that?
Yeah, I love the stacks. I remember again watching that one and seeing the reeve for the first time, actually seeing somebody do a reeve was again another just crazy eye-opening experience. Okay, why aren't we doing that? What is that? What are they doing? And then so being able to learn that and get that skill down was great leading up to it, and then actually being able to do that scenario was amazing. Having to rappel down, I got to rappel down first, go check on Stan, and then go up across and go up the ladder. And I was, I've been jonesing for that one for a long time to be able to go up there and do that scenario. And I didn't realize that there's a super tiny hole before you get up and are able to climb that ladder to get up across the way. And that threw me off a little bit because that was the smallest hole I think I've ever been through in my life. And trying to get through that hole with a whole bunch of gear on me was pretty crazy. And then I think my favorite part of that scenario was actually watching Jerry. He threw our throw line from one side to the other, and I remember watching teams struggle with that the first time and not being able to get that throw line over. It's okay, so how are we going to plan if we can't get the throw? And I'm sitting there going, oh man, this is going to be hard if he doesn't get that throw. And Jerry, the first throw, I mean, just was amazing. Perfect throw all the way across. So it made my life easy. Now I just got to climb a ladder and grab the rope. So that was awesome. And then being able to, like I said, set up the reeve was a lot of fun.
Excellent. What kind of reeve did you guys go with?
So we did a double English reeve.
Okay.
And we had used the DMM Keanu is what we used. So I know most people probably used, what did everyone else use?
The Kootenai.
The Kootenai pulley. So we actually used the Keanu, which, I mean, we were like, okay, we need this for this reeve. We want this thing for this reeve,
Yeah, those are really cool. Yeah.
It was, so having that piece of equipment just, is so amazing. And then being able to use it there was like a dream come true, honestly. So
very neat. I was told it because I was down down in another scenario, so I never got to see what was happening topside. But I know that the guys were talking about a team had one of those, and so I didn't know it was you guys. So that's great.
Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
No, I was going to say that just scenario was really unique, especially for me. I haven't been on the rope team very long, but I've kind of grown accustomed to just having a lot of like space, you know, to set up anchors. And where we were setting up, you know, you're right along the edge of the turret there, you know, on that really narrow walkway was like a really unique learning opportunity to, you know, work with the team kind of just backwards and forwards, like in a line. You know, it's not something I've ever done before or something that I thought that we, you know, would have to do. So yeah, that was really fun. And a real takeaway was, yeah, how we can improve that and better that for the next time we're in a tight spot.
Yeah. And it's funny. We've heard that comment from a few people. That's a really tight spot to rig anything, let alone reading eyeline. Yeah.
And the best bit was having like, you know, you got like your friends and family are just like, you know, just down there watching you. So you got to make it look good and yeah, not get the sweaty fingers and drop anything because everyone can see it. Yeah.
No pressure. No pressure.
Right.
Well, good. Well, then, kind of from the top of the ship here, we're going to go down to the bottom, down in the Catacombs. So, what was your thoughts on the Catacombs?
Well, I don't know, for the people that haven't seen our team, we're not the most fit or skinny team there by any means, and the Catacombs was not user friendly to get through a lot of the ships. Brian, you want to talk about getting through that part?
Yeah. So on that one, we got down in there, kind of sent a recon out to go see exactly what we needed before we started hauling a bunch of equipment in. So we made it through the boiler room portion of that to the openings, and then sent our first rescuer up into that. And we quickly realized that this wasn't going to be a rope access. This was going to be a team effort, but not a rope effort. So we quickly packed the gear back, got it out of the way, and got ready to get all of us in there. And we moved in, we advanced up to the patient, and then we were able to, once we got through those tight little holes, we were able to maneuver Stan into position, and we pre-planned our moves. We were able to move him forward. Once we got him into a spot, we would leapfrog and continue on, and actually went very smooth. This was one of our fastest scenarios we did.
That's great. I think you hit it right on the head too. That was really that scenario was very teamwork based. If you couldn't function as a team, you were going to have trouble there.
Exactly. Yep.
And I think even just getting to the patient as a team, we worked really well because, like I said, we're tiny holes and bigger dudes. We worked really well as a team of getting everybody through the hole. You know, I went through first, but then I would turn around and help the guy behind me with the person behind him, helping him, and we just leapfrog all the way through. And then we set up in a super good teamwork coming out with the victim.
And Stan, I don't know if hopefully you won't mind me kind of saying this here, because I know we talked about this afterwards right at the banquet on Saturday. But I think Chad, you hit it right on the head. You guys, you're kind of I'll say stocky. Some of your guys are a little on the stocky side. Chad, you and I are about the same size, and a lot of these teams, had victims that were kind of pushing the bottom end of that the 60 kilogram or 132 pound victim limit there, and you guys went above and beyond there because Chad wasn't at the 130 pound mark. So,
well,
yeah.
Excuse me, Stan wasn't.
Stan.
Yeah.
Oh,
Stan,
no, not at all. And of all the pieces of equipment, the reef sleeve was, to me, the most confining. And if I would have had both arms stuck down to my side, I would have been claustrophobic. So I intentionally made sure that one arm was up and one arm was down. And that gave me the comfort to be able to go through the process.
Okay.
I was supposed to be unconscious, unresponsive, but I made sure that one arm stayed out.
Well, and kudos to you guys too for knowing the different packaging options with the sked.
Mm-hmm.
Is you could go both down, one high, or both highs. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and that scenario was a lot of fun. Like I said, it wasn't a a major rope thing, but that took a lot of teamwork. Where moving Stan through those holes and having literally, I mean, it's hard to explain even how tight that area was, but you're going through one hole directly into another. And so, I mean, we'd have one guy in the middle with, Stan would be floating on his knee and then being pushed up to the next hole and pulled through, get him to a spot, everyone leapfrog through. And I mean, I love the picture that you guys put out of that one. So if you have questions about it, you can look at their picture and you can just see how dirty we are by the end of that one. It was a lot of fun.
Right.
Yeah. And it's amazing how many bulkheads there are there for you to go through.
Oh yeah.
Well, and the most narrow one was like halfway through it.
It kind of a almost like a sleeper problem there, right? You get used to those nice a couple bigger openings, and all of a sudden that small one hits, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, and then from the I'm sorry. Did anyone else have anything else you want to talk about with Catacombs, or if not,
that was a cool scenario to have, like one where you didn't actually have to use, the ropes. So I thought that was fair play to you guys, like, because I don't know, I'm sure, like, we would have been trying to find a way to use ropes, but yeah, that was a cool one to have, where there could have been used, you could use ropes, but you didn't have to, and it was more the team effort and the team communication that would get you done in the time. So yeah, that was really cool.
Well,
and we really needed that. We needed that success, and we succeeded with great time, and it totally gave us a turnaround for the rest of that day.
Yeah, that was a big boost.
Oh, that's great. It kind of, if you guys want to, there's a little bit of a backstory on the Catacombs. So when we did the first competition, that our crews had went there, and they had looked at different, possible scenarios and everything, and we knew because we were increasing the amount of teams, we had to increase the number of stations or the amount of scenarios.
Right.
And what was cool is, and just I cannot say enough good things about the crew and the staff on the Iowa, how great they are to work with. So their crew after we had been there the first time, had looked around, and they had actually started looking in areas of the ships that would make good scenarios. So when we came back and we actually looked at a few different places, and we chose to go to the Iowa again. And one of the reasons was those guys and gals had actually went out of their way to look for other spaces for us in other scenarios. And that was one of them that they had come up with. Yeah.
Wow. So
I thought that was really cool. Those, that they know the ship inside out, backwards and forwards. So that was neat.
They were all the Iowa staff was just amazing. They were great.
Yeah, they were. So then from the Catacombs, we moved up a little bit to Broadway. So what was your take on Broadway?
So was Broadway the one? Scenarios. Which one was Broadway?
So Broadway was with the Arizona Vortex, where you got dropped down into the escape shuttle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that was an awesome one too.
Cool. I can help, or I'll take part of this one.
Yeah.
This one was really cool. Like I said, it was probably one of my favorite scenarios that we did on the ship. I loved them all, but I got to go down to this one first in the working space in there inside the ship, and then going down was tough, but you go down a level, and then it's a complete maze down there, and trying to find the victim was a challenge in itself. And so I'm like all over through this maze trying to find Stan. And then by the time I found him, Adam and Dillman were getting down, and just the teamwork of, we had to build rope systems down there to get him down from the levels down to the entry point. And then Stoner and Ivy had got the tripod all set up, and were completely ready for us to go. And we were almost like leapfrogging our way through and getting Stan up and then each other up. And it was just great teamwork on all our parts on this one. I felt like we really came together again as a team and rocked this scenario. And it was super challenging, from tight holes to openness to stairwells to have just a little bit of everything in it. It was awesome.
Yeah. I think there was multiple ways to find the patient too. I think that was a fun thing too. So like when we came down, Chad had gone one way, and then I came down and we like following the instructions, but went a different way and went up some stairs and found Stan. And then I think Dillman found like a third way. So like getting him out, it was like, we're going to go 1, 2, or 3. So
honestly, of all the scenarios, that was my second favorite. I think our team did great. They maneuvered, they overcame. There were a lot of obstacles to have to overcome, including, multiple rope setups. And when I walked in there as a patient and I saw that porthole that I knew I was going to have to come up through, I thought, oh crap. I thought this is going to be fun, but it was a really good one.
Yeah. And then if that hatch isn't tight enough to get through, they have that like safety bar that's about a foot and a half or 2 feet above it, right over the middle of it. Yeah. So
yeah, I don't know how they call that an exit for anything. That thing was crazy.
Yeah, that was a good one. I really liked that. It's not my favorite, but second favorite of all the challenges.
Good deal. So then coming up next, then we had Shaft Alley. So that was another. Go ahead.
So you want to take Shaft Alley, Dillman?
Was Shaft Alley our first?
Yeah,
Our very
first scenario. Yep.
Yeah, Shaft Alley was awesome. It was a huge learning experience for me. We kind of had some stuff in our mind a little bit on trying to pre-plan it. And I think that almost hindered us in a way rather than just taking stuff as it came. It was really cool as far as the learning experience because I learned a ton because you have to drop down several restricted openings down into a flat deck and go through bulkheads and kind of combine some of the fire stuff and, do a left-handed search and search kind of an engine room area and then continue on. And then here's a set of ropes that are hanging and you can ascend up and down them, but you can't use the ropes for equipment. So ascending up that and then finding Stan on a little ledge in a small area and being able to build a system and being on an island is really a great learning experience and kind of being put on the spot. And then also, a huge learning thing was for us is, the equipment we take with us, because I'm not a small guy. And so I had pretty well stripped a ton of my gear and I should have probably attached that to a bucket, which I ended up using in our last scenario and it ended up really being advantageous to me. But it was really nice to be put on the spot and work through that communication. I think I went up and down that rope like 3 or 4 times though, because we'd miss a piece of equipment or I couldn't communicate to Chad and I didn't want to waste time. So I had to rappel down and talk to Chad because those bulkheads are like baffles of a suppressor. You get a couple of bulkheads away and you can holler as much as you want. And unless they're like looking you in the face and you're perfectly lined up, you can't talk. And we're under the impression that we couldn't use radios. And so none of us had any radio comms and it was a huge learning experience, but it went really well. And the guys at the top that stayed up, they had systems pre-rigged and ready. And so the little portion that I did as far as ascending and lower and stand down and then send them to Chad, and Chad and Adam have to get him through Shaft Alley to the set of vertical portholes. And then Stone and Isaac had to bring him up. And so all of us had these different sequences. So it wasn't like one long haul system. It wasn't one anything. It was a really good team effort with multiple setups and multiple scenarios. And I just really enjoyed that aspect of it, of putting people on the spot, kind of being on those islands, as we call them, for having to come up with solutions on your own. And then just the teamwork of everybody's working together for a common goal, but they're working on a separate system within that bigger process, almost like cogs in a Swiss watch. I mean, it was really cool to see how well these guys that I get to train and work with and hang out with performed on that. And so that was, to me, was one of the coolest ones.
I would add,
Shaft Alley was our first scenario, so it kind of was our introduction to the competition. So we came in with zero or virtually zero confined space experience. So that was our first real exposure to tight quarters and, just the whole communications and just all of it was really new for us overall as a team. So that was kind of cool to overcome all that and still be able to get the victim up and back to the square.
As a team, communication was our biggest issue on this one. It showed in the long run. If our communications would have been ideal, we would have shined on that one. We would have had a success with no questions asked.
Yeah, and just that, I think to echo what Dillman said, it was just awesome to see us all bringing a little piece of the puzzle to get through. And I feel that this scenario was one of the scenarios that our team grew the most. And we grew in all of them, but just our very first one, very first competition. It's different than how we've ever operated before. It's our first real confined space scenario. It was just all of it coming together was cool.
That and it's funny with the confined space because I mean, you know, training in the climate gym, I mean, we found tight spaces and like to do stuff in, and like I say, we thought we were training confined space, but then we ran, you know, like real confined space was, you know, right out of the gate, like, okay, yeah, we were wrong. So this is confined space.
Yeah. So I have to ask, so did anyone, since that was your first scenario, did any of you think, what the heck did we get ourselves into here?
Yeah, a little bit. And the lights weren't even off.
Yeah.
Like it was, I think there was a problem with the electrics. They were meant to have the lights off to have it in, you know, like pitch black, but we actually had the lights on. And even then we're still, you know, yeah, like Isaac says, you know, oh, so this is confined space. Okay. So suck it in, boys. And yeah,
that's what I thought, just walking even before we got to the hole, trying to get through all the lockers. So I was like, oh my gosh.
Right. And like realizing like how hot the ship is inside.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, how stuffy it is. And like, yeah, within 5 minutes, like you're sweating buckets. And
it was the first time I realized that this is going to be painful as a victim, as the back of my knees hit the edge of some of those portholes.
Yeah.
Like, holy cow, that hurts. I learned that even unconscious, unresponsive, I'm going to lift my legs up.
Oh yeah. And Theron should take a lot of this one too, because you got to see a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, and on my end, this is the scenario I evaluated. So I got to see 6 different teams go through, and there was 5.5 different solutions to the problem. No one team did it identical, you know. And I watched Peak go through, I watched Intervention go through, I watched Orange County, Florida go through, I watched Portland go through. Everybody did it different. There was little teeny tiny aspects that were the same, but everybody had their own solution, their own systems, their own, you know. So in my mind, you know, things I learned on that scenario are going to help our team even not confined space tenfold.
Yeah. And you hit it right on the head. That's one of the greatest takeaways as an evaluator is, just seeing different solutions, right?
Definitely.
Good. Well, and that kind of brings us into the last one here, very appropriately named. You're not going to like this. The wing void. And that
this was the best
awesome.
one.
I love it.
It was because that had been a scenario that we had done in 2019, and we knew we wanted to reuse it basically as is. So we just had to change the name of it so that people didn't realize what it was. And I think some of the different suggestions that were made for that was like the hellhole. Yeah, there was a few other ones, but the one that was chosen was you're not going to like this. So.
Well, we loved it.
It was good, but it was not easy.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Who wants to take this one?
I'll start out. As a patient, that was absolutely my favorite by far.
Really?
Yeah, it was. I mean, there were more challenges to that one than most, but it was most similar to what we do on a regular basis. We descend down and we arrive at the patient and we bring them back. The difference is that there was a change in lateral as far as once I got up to a certain point, I had to move they had to move me to another position and then go up again. So it was 2 situations that it wasn't a single rescue. It was a double rescue. And in my opinion, our team did exceptionally well at that one. Obviously, we didn't make it in the appropriate time frame, and we learned from that. But reality is that it was most similar to what we do on a regular basis. We go down, we find the patient, we bring them up, we overcome the challenges, and we complete the task.
I think going on from what you said there, Stan, you know, we were just outside the time, we were 3 minutes over, and you know, we were saying afterwards, you know, if we'd done in real life, you know, having that and then having to come out of those holes with the patient, like, you know, we'd be talking about that you could retire with that rescue, you know, that would be like the legacy rescue. And to be 3 minutes shy of getting that one in the bag, and not having the, you know, the confined space the training that, you know, we're definitely all going to go get after this competition was really humbling, you know, just to watch us all come together, you know, and without the radios too, you know, just put the cherry on the cake. with 3 minutes over. So I think that's a real testament.
And maybe, if you don't mind, I'll kind of set the stage here too for some of our listeners on this a little more in depth than what was in the intro in the station. Basically, all you saw from the outside was a horizontal bulkhead hatch. The teams had no clue what they were getting themselves into. And once they went in and went through multiple horizontal bulkheads, found a vertical hatch, went down about 12 to 15 feet, over about 4 more feet, another vertical hatch, down about 40 feet, down into the bottom of the wing voids. And then there was still multiple horizontal bulkheads to get through to get to your patient.
Right.
Patient had to be packaged, move horizontally, vertically, over a little, vertically again, and then horizontally and out and around a 90-degree corner.
That was a tiny hole, to get out.
Yeah, I got to give you a shout out because I've used this example multiple times since the competition, talking with different people in classes and stuff. You guys identified having all the stuff hanging off your harnesses was not a good thing. And you were the only team I saw that had almost like an electrician's bucket. You had put all your gear in to be able to drop down into those spaces. So you had a relatively clean harness to try to get through. So you got through clean as a whistle and you weren't getting hung up on those bolts that were sticking up. And I thought that was such a great idea. Such a good takeaway.
I really appreciate that. That bag was made by a buddy of mine it was finished about 3 hours before we left.
Oh, wow.
And I picked that up through caving. Some of the caves we go to, you run like an ankle bag and you kind of drag it with you, or a drag bag. And we discussed, was like, well, if depending on the situation, or if we have to move small equipment, and then, so we kind of ended up putting that into play. And I really think it, like you said, it really helped out, especially me. Cause like I said, I'm not a small guy, but I sure like to get in there and get involved and do stuff. And I'm very fortunate to be able to work with this team. And so it was really cool to be able to say, hey, let's try this idea. And it's something we'd never even used in practice, but everybody's like, hey, if you think it's going to work, let's go with it. And it ended up being something that was pretty valuable to us in certain areas. But again, it's something that we kind of developed for just this competition. And now we have it as a tool. If we have a cave rescue or anything in our area, that we have that tool literally in the toolbox, where normally we have a great big wide canyon we got acres of space, and we can have chainsaws hanging off the side of us. We got tons of space to be able to hang gear and equipment, but this has been a real big learning aspect on moving into that market. Cause I think I'm the only one on my team that had any confined space experience, cause I'm on a fire department. And so the fire department that I work at full time has put me through confined space. And so I was a little bit used to it, but still we don't have the ability to train in places like that. I mean, that's just world-class, just tons of fun, sharp edges everywhere, rusty, dirty. I mean, I think the Iowa is going to be part of me for the rest of my life. Like I think I inhaled enough rust scale to last me forever. And it just was tons of fun. I agree. We were talking afterwards. I think every one of us enjoyed this scenario probably the most, because it was the hardest working. You get dirty, you work with the guys. We had great teamwork. It was just a blast. It was tons of fun.
And then, just
absolutely
to add to the teamwork, and, Dougie kind of talked about how technical this scenario really was. We were working as teams and leapfrogging as you go in this tight space to start off with. It's not easy to get through. And then you got to go through bulkheads and find this thing. And we're all kind of leapfrogging through, and Dillman and I end up going down the first manhole, and then got to move over and go down a second manhole and 40 feet down. And we're trying to relay communicating up so everybody knows what's going on. And there's team up tops working on, okay, we got to get these guys out of this mess they're dealing with. And Jerry and I end up in the bottom and just moving Stan from through the bulkheads over to where we've got to go up that 40 feet was really tough in itself. And we weren't able to actually go through with the patient and stuff like we had in the previous scenarios. So Dillman and I were literally hopping over. They were probably like 5 or 6 feet tall, and we'd leapfrog over, and one of us would pull Stan halfway and hold him until the other guy could hop over instead of crawl through the bulkheads, and was working great. And then we had set up our systems efficiently as initial to go up that first 40-foot ascent. Dillman had sent it up and was like, I'll help Stan go through the first manhole up that 40 feet. And then there's an old condemned ladder in there that's right in the way of going up. And I had initially thought I would have sent up along him and keep him off that ladder. Well, they ended up having to pull that rope up to use for the system, and then I put my set of fours off and almost do a tension him down there to keep him off the ladder. So the teamwork and coordination with all of us to get him from there to go up and then up to the first hole, and then Dillman and Adam working with Brian and Isaac to get him from that manhole up to the next manhole. Then they got to drag him through multiple more bulkheads and out. Was just the teamwork and coordination and the efficiencies and all of us coming together to overcome multiple challenges. I was just so proud of our team. It was awesome.
And I have to give credit to Isaac for right at the end when, we knew time was out, and Isaac pulled me and continued to the very end. He didn't give up for a minute, even though he knew the time was done. He did not give up. He continued to pursue, and he continued to pull me and get me to the blue tape square box, no matter what.
Yeah, I think I was the only one who knew time was out, but I told everyone else we had time and they needed to hurry. So I said we're not done until we're done, and so I didn't let anyone else know that time had lapsed because you couldn't hear the buzzer down there. So I was like, all right, guys, we hurry up, we gotta go, and just kept pushing everybody till we got everything out. And I think that was my favorite part. Yeah, was pulling Stan out and dragging him all the way over, and even just getting, like I said, that last hole was crazy. So
yeah, that last hole
I knew I didn't fit very well. So so in prepping for that, I threw all of our bags down on the floor out there and told the CMC guys to move out of the way, and kind of dove out the hole, landed on all of our bags. But no, that was
a little painful, but it was very, very progressive.
Yeah. Well, I will say you guys definitely finished with style. So
we love it.
So now that we've kind of talked about all the scenarios here. So why do you think some scenarios were challenging for some teams and more straightforward for some of the other teams?
I got to speak up on that one. The challenge to us as a team overall was confined space because we don't train for it. Mm-hmm. It's not our forte. It's not, legally we're not allowed to do it. So it's new to us, but I think we did really good in the confined space areas. The other areas, such as the room with a view and the smokestacks, those were more our regular routine areas. And I think we got hung up on the fact that let's do it right. We overthought it, and it cost us in the long run. But reality is we succeeded. We did well in all the scenarios. We could have done better in all the scenarios.
Yeah. And I think for some people, the having, some of that, competition experience, I think is huge. Literally from day one to day two, I can't tell you how much stuff we changed. Right. Day one, we were set up for rescue. In day two, we were way more set up for competition than we were, the first day. I think that played a big part of it. And then just, like you say, some people are great at some aspects of rescue versus the others. So, if you're not doing a whole bunch of high lines and reeves, that's probably not going to be your best scenario versus, if you're great at rope access and being able to somebody off a rope and move them down and put them on a different system, I think then, those guys probably did really well on some of those, even though they're confined space, but still, that's the aspect that they had to deal with. And if that's what they're used to, then they're going to, definitely do better on those. And then some of the teams were definitely built for that ship versus us,
But some good observations there.
Yeah, we all have strengths and weaknesses, and and that's I think that's one of the great things about it is you can say like, wow, we did good on this, but you know what, we can focus on this aspect of rescue a little bit more,
Yeah.
So I think it's super useful as far as, to us on what we can do better. So.
Well, and that's actually kind of a really good lead into the next question is, so what was the team's best takeaway from the event?
Oh, man.
Everything.
Where you want to start?
Yeah.
Adam, go for it.
No, I was gonna, I wrote down a few things. So, I learned how many steps there are on a ship, and that was really cool to learn. And how small those manhole covers are. But I think my number one, apart from working with the guys, the way that we work here in Twin Falls is, a page goes out and it's whoever shows up, to come. And I think getting to work with, this kind of core group was really good for me, not being on the rope team for very long. It's definitely something I'm going to take away is like the lateral thinking and that kind of, trying to keep it simple, like just not overthinking it, just trying to achieve the objective. But maybe the biggest thing was like that, just the camaraderie with the other rope teams, was fantastic. Looking at the other teams that have, been doing this stuff and done competitions for, 10, 20 plus years, no one puts us down. People would show us tips and show us their gears. I think we took away a load of ideas, like, Isaac was saying, from day one to day two, like, we literally started tearing stuff apart and putting out, we have big bands of gear that we were carrying around, and we stripped that down and we'll just putting gear on ourselves because, we're watching what other teams are doing and going off their feedback, looking at 13 mil rope versus 11 mil rope, and how other teams had shorter ropes for certain scenarios and stuff. I think for our next competition, that's going to be fantastic. And that was a real, like, one of my favorite things about the whole competition in general was just how welcoming and how, like, such a pleasure everyone was to be around, and everyone was happy to answer questions. No one was like keeping the cards close to their chest. Everyone's happy just to be there to learn and share knowledge and really help us. So, for me, those are the things I'll take away. But I mean, I could go on, if you've got another hour, I'll go on to the next page.
Yeah,
Hey, Adam, how long have you been doing rope rescue stuff?
So I just had my, from being on the team, I'm coming up to just go on my 1 year anniversary, and from doing my actual operations course is going to be next month. That would have been a year. So
wow.
I've really gone zero to hero, and I'm so fortunate and thankful for, having that opportunity to come and just be the sponge and just try and learn as much as I could from you guys and the other teams and my colleagues. Very fortunate and very thankful. And I really hope that, it just makes me a better rescuer and being on the ropes. So
that's impressive. I would have never guessed you only had 1 year on as a sensor rope class. That's impressive.
He's a rock star.
And I think we
our
can.
whole team's a rock star.
I'll give you that 20 later, Stan.
And I think we can add, just our whole team coming together and the camaraderie of all the other groups and all the things. We learned tons about competition, but we also learned tons about rescue and being more efficient in different systems and even more equipment and thinking outside of the box we never even thought of before. And the things we're going to bring home to our teams and hopefully be able to share with everybody else we work. We're just going to be able to be so much better and more efficient for the patients that we're going to help every day. And, where we live and work, we're fortunate we do about 20 high angle rope rescues a year of actual real rescues, taking care of real patients. And I think this is going to make us this much better, this much more efficient. A lot of people harass me if pick and stand to be our patient and everything. And, he's our boss and supports us 110%, and having his support and being able to get the hospital support of, hey, we need to maybe bring in some of these experts to train in these areas and get this equipment, and being able to see firsthand. I just think that we're going to be able to serve our patients every day so much better because of our experiences at GRIMP North America.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to add real quick. One of the big things I saw was on our rescues, we tend to be a team rescue where, each person does their portion and kind of all has a little bit of feedback. And the way the whole competition works is each individual rescuer has a lot more responsibility the way it was laid out, because they're each happening to do almost their own scenario throughout it. And so it kind of brought back the focus of we need to build up each of our team members to be able to perform at any position, anywhere in that rescue. And I think we were able to do that in the competition, but also in the future, as we're training up our new members, that we're not going to train them to be just stuck at this spot or that spot. We're going to be able to make more of a solid all-around rescuer instead of a positional rescuer. Because when we get toned out, we don't know what 5 or 6 guys might be the first 5 or 6 guys on scene. So definitely making solid, well-rounded rescuers out of each of our members is definitely something I picked up from this.
Oh, very good. Did you learn something? I guess I'll ask if you could even be fairly specific. Did you learn something at this event that you're going to be able to use on the job, on actual rescues?
Oh, yeah. Every day.
Absolutely.
Every day. Yeah. I've been in EMS since 91, as a paramedic since 96, and officially on a rope rescue team since probably about 2001, 2002. However, I have not been the person that excelled on it. There was a time when our team kind of faded away, almost non-existent, and then it was brought back when Chad became the lead on it, and we brought it back really strong. And I mean, I've been on the ropes. One of my most notorious rescues was actually retrieving a dog from a canyon, and where we started an IV and gave him medication to get it up and out of there. And I mean, to me, that was truly, totally cool. But our team has excelled and has become what they are today because of Chad and because of Theron and because of Isaac and because of Brian and Gerald. I don't want to miss anybody, honestly, but we're truly 10 times the team we were when I was in 2001 by any means. I stand back and I'm like, okay, you guys are in charge. You guys are the one that do it. You guys are the one that goes down the rope. I have a slight understanding of what's actually going on, but I do understand what's going on. And, I don't know all the technical terms of as far as all the new equipment, the new maneuvers, everything else. But you know what? I strongly support them, and my immediate boss and my overall boss, we all understand that and we support it. And what really matters at the end of the day is, did we do what was right for the patient? And absolutely, we do what's right for the patient. And what did we bring back from this competition? A whole lot of new learning ideas, new learning motives, new learning ways to accomplish the task of getting the patient to the top where they can be transported to a definitive care. And to me, that's the most important thing about it. If we can, provide a comfortable situation for that patient, we've succeeded.
And that is great to have a team with the support from above like that. That's critical. So many teams nationwide are fighting to get support, and to have somebody that's on the team that's making sure you're getting support. That's fantastic.
And we're a hospital-based system. Realistically, none of this matters as far as legal and requirements of the state or anything else, but we've actually obtained the level of, support and everything. The state looks at us as a regional response team.
Wow.
Equal to the fire department, and the fire department is the one that's actually challenged with this issue. We're not.
Wow.
But we're the ones that actually providing it for them. And
that's fantastic.
Everything about GRIMP will come back to support us and provide us with strength. And number one, because everything's patient-centric.
Yeah. So,
I was going to say, I guess, learning something from this, I think, obviously, the competition, we learned a ton and, different techniques and all this stuff, but just the months in advance of GRIMP, training and getting ready for it and working, I know that, every Monday I'm going to be there till we're done with whatever we're doing, you know, and just pushing ourselves to learn every single role. And you know, we want to, anybody can be placed on an island at any time in this scenario, you know, in this competition, we know that. So, you know, having everybody learn all those roles and make sure that you're comfortable in everything you do was great. And I think that for me, the biggest thing was just being more comfortable on rope, like with ascending. You know, if you told me in 2019 watching it, if you told me I had to ascend 60 feet and pass a knot while I did it, you know, that would take me 90 minutes probably back then just to do that. But, you know, now it's like, you know what, we're teaching a class today, and it's just like, you know what, I love ascending. I used to hate ascending, but it's like, if I can ascend now, I'm all for it. So just learning those new skills and being comfortable with what you're doing, I think has been one of the biggest takeaways for me.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, specific takeaway for me is the team leader is coming back, and Brian kind of hit on it, of instilling the importance of knowing everything all the time. And for myself included, of I need to be completely ready 110% of the time to do every part of the job, and just bringing home that I need to refresh on the little things that I maybe have not spent as much time on in the past, and then passing on and mentoring that to others on our team. And in the end, we'll be faster and efficient for the people we serve.
And I'll echo what Chad just said. As the evaluator, I learned a ton. And it's kind of like these guys, when they went down in 2019, it's like, ooh, what's that? How's that? Why are they doing that? And so I've spent these last couple of weeks just going over things in my head, writing stuff down, things that I can bring back to the team that's not only going to make me more efficient, but it's going to make the team more efficient as well.
Yeah,
At the end of day one, we actually sat down and we said, okay, what can we do better? What do we need to do better for day number 2? And number 1 was to get activated, to get involved. The deployment was like the number 1 goal. And I think that's what hurt us day 1, not on scenario 1, but scenario 2 and 3. It was to get to the patient, get to that assessment, and what do we need to do from there? And so we used that, and the first 2 scenarios on day 2 showed that. I mean, we put that into action immediately. So we gained a lot of knowledge on day 1 that helped us on day 2. Didn't change our overall outcome as far as our team goes. It probably did, because we succeeded and had some successful scenarios. In addition to this, we had 7 of our team members, counting myself, but at home we have, how many, Chad? 18, 20?
Yeah, 16 to 18.
16 to 18 crew members that we're going to bring this information back. We're going to train them. We're going to make them, the entire team, better, regardless whether they can go to another GRIMP or not. We're going to be better as a team, so that not just the 5 people that we had involved in the rescues, a rescuer and a patient, we're going to have, 12 people that are out there able to take any call that comes upon us. We get falls off the canyon, we get base jumpers, we get all kinds of things, accidents, whatever it might be, that our team is actually responding on. And it's not going to be the same 5 members that were on our team at GRIMP. It's going to be the 16 or 18 people that's gained the knowledge and the experience because we are teaching them in the future.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
I think our future patients go a lot to this competition, I think even the things that we don't know right now, like the little things that we pick up and have picked up and we've already brought that back and already started to change, will make a big difference in the future. So no, thank you for that opportunity.
Well, and I think you guys have actually kind of tipped your hand on what the answer is going to be. The next question here is, would you recommend participating in events such as GRIMP to other teams?
In a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think if you can't, I was going to say, and even, if you apply, I know that we're going to do again and again and again, even what the guys did a few years ago, you know, driving down there and looking at the other teams, you know, when we finished our scenarios and we got the opportunity to watch the other teams, you know, you sponge all that knowledge up and you can take it back, you know, and apply it even for your own learning and then back at your own team. So yeah, 110%.
Excellent.
Yeah, not only for the knowledge you learn and the things that you don't know what you don't know until, but just even be able to, you know, rub elbows with other people and get those friendships and, you know, contacts and being able to, you know, work with those guys later in life. You know, I have no doubt that, you know, we'll be in contact with lots of people from GRIMP and there'll be way more opportunities in the future as well. Just for meeting other people and who are, you know, like-minded and love this stuff. So yeah, if you have a chance to go to a competition and compete, do it. And like I said, even in just going to watch in 2019 completely changed our team and how we saw stuff. So absolutely do it.
And I'll echo that, you know, what Isaac said about meeting people and having those contacts. There's one of the contacts I've made, I've been talking to weekly since we've been back. And, you know, I'm trying to get a trip planned to go down to Texas to train with his company and learn some of his knowledge and the way they do things. So it's making those connections is huge for the industry.
I agree with the connections, and not only the connections, but the friendship and the mentors that came out of this. You know, Doug, you sat and talked with us a long time at the awards thing, as well as so many others. And the team captain from the UK team, you know, he came up and sat down with me and they placed really well. And he goes, man, just keep your team alive, keep doing what you're doing and keep growing. He goes, I was in your position 10 years ago when we started the same adventure, and now we're placing in these competitions. And he goes, you can grow your team or you can let this break you. And just having the mentorship and listen to others that have gone through the process and competition and rescue and the friendships we made and the people we met that was one of the best parts. And I'm just so thankful for that.
Yeah. And Brad War, one of your evaluators that you guys brought in, it was great because I had an experience with Brad War 10 years ago where we were on a rescue on an airplane crash in the Waihe Mountains of Idaho. And it was great to see Brad again and to rehash the fact that you know, we had a successful rescue many years ago involving Nampa Fire Department and their rope rescue team and Idaho Air National Guard to actually provide some airlift evacuation for us and everything else. I mean, it was great to see people that I knew already. And in the future, you know what, the guys that didn't have that experience that I had, they're gonna be able to experience that kind of stuff the same way. This is a small world, even though it seems like a big world, it's a small world. And it's not just rope rescue, it's rope rescue and it's patient care, and it's doing what's right for the patient.
Very well said. Yeah, very well. So is there anything else any of you would like to comment on, or I think you guys have really...
I just want to say that the experience for GRIMP, for St. Luke's Magic Valley Paramedics, and the St. Luke's health system in general, number one, our team supports us, our hospital supports us, our administrators support us 100%. And we, regardless of the outcome of how we placed, we are heroes amongst our team. And our teams that, you know, I'm speaking for are online right now. They are the best of the best. And it doesn't matter how we placed in the competition. We provide the greatest care, the greatest opportunity for the patients in Southern Idaho that is available.
And I have to tell you, I mean, after working, yeah, your team was just such a pleasure to work with because, I mean, everyone, even in the toughest scenarios, the toughest things happening, you guys always had smiles on your faces. You could tell you were having a good time, and you were working. You were a very, very tight team. That was obvious.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just add, you know, these guys are my family, and so part that they put up with me and all my, let's go do these crazy things like this competition. When I saw GRIMP on your guys' website and social media come out, I immediately called Isaac and texted the team, and I'm like, hey guys, we should go do this. And just, I'm so thankful for the experience. It was one of the greatest experiences of my life, quite frankly. And just with these guys and the teamwork and the other teams and the bonding and team building and the CMC guys and evaluators, and I'm just like still speechless about the experience. People ask me about it and I'm like, man, I'm still just blown away how awesome it was and can't even describe it yet. So I just so thankful for you guys for the opportunity and inviting us to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to throw a shout out for is, thank you. I completely agree with all the gratitude, and what a humbling experience, what a wonderful experience to learn. But I think something I'd like to shout out is we come from a small town in Idaho. We're still very community oriented. It truly was a community effort. We had other agencies covering our calls while we were gone. We had members of our own agency step up and cover extra shifts. We had tons of people that we've learned from, we've trained with, we've gained skills from, like everybody that we've learned something from along the way has helped us get to where we are now. And I just would like to say thank you to everybody. And we work with several agencies around in just one small area. We work with several fire departments. We work with a search and rescue entity. We work with the sheriff's office, and we gain something from all of them. We've learned something from all of them. And I just really want to say thank you to them, and as well as our community, something from, we have that company that made that bag for us custom, because they have a company right there in Little Idaho, Little Twin Falls, Idaho, to all the community members that have supported us through donations and support, and county commissioners. It's such a huge group effort. And I really want to point that out, that we just have a wonderful support system. And I think that's one of our major strengths is that support system and all the people that helped us get here. And I just wanted to say thank you to all of them, including all the people that have written books and the manuals that we get to read and learn from. And we have all of these giants of industry that we've been able to learn from and glean from, and even down to the local folks that have come before us. I just really wanted to say thank you for everything that our community has done for us to allow us to do this really cool and unique thing, and to be able to gain the knowledge, skills, and ability we have because of them. So thank you so much.
Yeah. And I'd like to actually echo and keep adding on that. Our team members stepped up to cover the shifts and cover and be on call for rescues while we were gone, and it was spring break. And a couple of the fire departments we worked closely with stepped up and said, we'll help you guys while you're gone. And the search and rescue, same thing. We'll help you while you guys were gone. And they actually got a rescue while we were gone, and they were able to come together and just, and echo stands the St. Luke's health system and their support. And from the high up leadership in the hospital, actually we were in a training right before we were getting ready to leave, and they actually showed up at our training. We had no idea they were coming, just to wish us good luck and tell us they supported us. And our community and these trainers, everybody helping us train and push us, it was a huge community event.
Yeah, that is fantastic. You guys just have such a great story to tell here, and I hope our listeners have really keyed into some of these fantastic points you guys have made here. And like I said, it was so obvious you guys were such a tight and well-oiled machine, and you had practiced and trained together so much. And just the smiles on everyone's face said it all. It was great working with you guys. So I really appreciate.
Thank you.
I really appreciate coming on to the podcast here and to share your experiences, and hopefully others can learn from what you guys have talked about here today.
We hope so, and thanks for the invite for the podcast and having us. We so appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Most definitely.
Okay. Well, thanks, guys, and stay tuned. Thank you again, and stay tuned for another CMC podcast.